To claim the lunar surface for the long term, NASA required a name that actually belonged to the moon. In Greek mythology, Artemis is Apollo's twin sister and the daughter of Zeus. Over centuries of ancient lore, and eventually through Roman syncretism with the deity Selene, Artemis became officially recognized as the goddess of the moon. In 1969, humans accomplished the most technically difficult feat in history: walking on another world. We stepped out, collected rocks, snapped some photos, and then, for more than half a century, we never went back. The 1960s space race was a Cold War sprint. The entire architecture was designed to prove we could beat the Soviets there and return the crew safely. Once that capability was proven, the political motivation evaporated, leaving us with a 50-year flatline and zero lasting infrastructure. Reusing the Apollo moniker today would anchor the program to its historical limits, a temporary visit to a hostile world. To go back today, we need an entirely different objective, and the hardware to back it up. We have to build an architecture designed for staying. That is the exact pivot the name Artemis is meant to signal. NASA chose this namesake deliberately to establish the new program as the next direct chapter of the 20th century missions. Choosing the goddess of the moon signals a transition toward an enduring, permanent human presence. The new name perfectly aligns with the physical target we are actually aiming for. Selecting a female deity highlights a massive demographic shift in who gets to do the exploring. The 1960s space race was defined by an exclusively male demographic, from the engineers and mission control to the astronauts on the surface. The crews were drawn exclusively from military test pilots, resulting in a homogeneous group of white men. The Artemis generation has an explicit mandate: land the first woman and the first person of color on the lunar surface. Beyond her lunar ties, Artemis was the goddess of the wilderness, known for roaming and surviving comfortably in harsh, untamed nature. This wilderness trait maps directly to NASA's new engineering objective: constructing a sprawling, permanent base camp. So, what kind of hardware upgrades do you need to turn a quick visit into a permanent stay? You start with Brute Force. The Space Launch System, or SLS, combined with the Orion spacecraft, serves as the heavy lift foundation. This setup is designed to push heavy cargo and modern crews deep into space at the exact same time. Instead of firing straight from Earth to the lunar surface like Apollo, Artemis uses an orbital station called the Gateway. Orion docks safely in orbit and the crew transfers over. From there, separate commercial landers ferry astronauts down to the surface and back. By keeping a central hub stationed in orbit, NASA eliminates the need to carry the entire return vehicle down to the surface and back up. They have built a continuous, reusable transportation network. With the orbital network in place, the focus drops down to the lunar South Pole. This specific region is the designated site for the Artemis Base Camp. This top-down map shows the lunar South Pole. It's an extreme, cratered region left unexplored by Apollo. Those permanently shadowed craters hold massive reserves of frozen water. That ice can be extracted and converted into breathable oxygen and rocket fuel, keeping humans alive for months. Their primary objective will be locating and extracting vital local resources, like water ice, to sustain the outpost. Artemis missions transform the moon from a site for exploration into a permanent base of operations. Operating this base camp turns the lunar surface into a functional extension of human territory. It moves from being a remote object of study to a permanent home for off-world exploration. But the ultimate goal of all this infrastructure stretches much further. The moon is actually a testing environment. Every element of the Artemis architecture draws on decades of survival data gathered in low Earth orbit. Artemis initiates the first phase of the Moon to Mars campaign. The lunar base camp will serve as a technological proving ground to test the life support, power, and propulsion systems required for the 140 million mile journey to the Red Planet. The moon now serves as the stepping stone to the rest of the solar system. The Artemis name functions as a mission statement, signaling that NASA is establishing a permanent foothold on the lunar surface. The relationship between the two mythological siblings defines the entire arc of modern space exploration. Apollo proved we had the technical capacity to reach another world. Artemis ensures we learn how to stay there. Apollo planted the flag. Artemis is meant to make the moon a permanent part of humanity's future.